Tim Panasiuk for Gibbons Motor Toys. Today we're going to show you our 190 Coyote Predator. So this Predator 190 is basically the same boat as our 180, other than it's 9 inches longer, so it gives it an overall length of 20 foot 9 inches. So basically close to 19 feet when you take off the swim platform. It's 2 inches taller than the 180. Other than that, I would highly recommend to refer to the 180 Predator video that we did previously, as the same details will be in that video as this. As far as the construction of the hull is concerned, we're using 0.125 on the sides. That's a 50-52 aluminum. With the Coyote boat, we've went over this in the past, so the way that their boats are formed is you've got a radius side on the hull here. So basically what you have is a nice curved surface. So it really does not look like aluminum at all. And the next advantage to that is that in the event of a crash or a dent, much easier to repair that system that they're using. Reverse chine hull right from the bow to the stern. I think it's 3.5 inches that we have here of a reverse chine that's formed in. We don't paint the boats to the bottom. We went over this in the past. The reason for that is when you end up on shore, you're not going to get gravel pits into the paint. It's going to stay looking better for more years to come. When you come to the bottom of the hull, in the bow section, we've got 3/16, and that's a 50-86 aluminum, so that's in the bow. We've got the 3/8 by 15 feet long by 4 feet wide UHMW over top of all this. As we move rearward in the hull, what happens on the bottom is that we go from the 3/16 in the bow to 1/4 inch wings and a 1/2 inch keel. And you also upgrade to a 60-61 aluminum. So that's even a harder grade aluminum, so that's going to be better for impact resistance. Looking at the back of the hull, we'll go over this again. We have a 10 degree dead rise. So we explain that in other videos. The 10 degree is the sweet spot for Coyote on these hulls. What that gives you is it gives you great shallow water capability, great steering, great maneuvering, and it stays up on step at a nice slow speed. You've got the adjustable trim tabs in the back, so you can fine tune those to deal with whatever you may have for a load. So if you do have any characteristics that you need to touch on, the trim tabs are very sensitive. They work very well. They're very effective. This has got the 309 pump, and we're going to get to the engine in this in just a minute because that's a big deal on this version that we got for 2022 now, is that we're using the mercruiser jet engine. And what we've done is we've paired that with the American Turbine 309 SD309 pump. But what we've done different is we've got an A impeller, but it's a high helix A impeller. So you're getting very similar characteristics as you would be on a Hamilton 212. The lifting capabilities, the acceleration, the ability to stay up on step at slow speeds, as I said earlier, are really enhanced with this high helix impeller. The 370 horsepower mercruiser has just the perfect amount of power to match to it. We're getting a top RPM of pretty much 4,000 RPMs, so it's made it really good to that high helix stainless steel impeller. Easy clean stomp grate, ski tow eye. You know, some of these things are options. The split duct reverse is an option. The easy clean we do show is an option. The ski tow ring is standard. Coyote's billet aluminum, the fit and finish on this is very high quality. This has got the optional sea deck on it, and you'll see more of that in the interior. You can see the swim deck is done here around the engine cover, the gunnels, the drop bow. We've got that pretty much all over. That's the full coverage sea deck that we're showing you there. The other thing that we do different on the 190 is if you look at the trailer, we do move into a tandem axle trailer. So this does have Easy Loader's aluminum beam. Trailers, of course, are optional depending which model, what style, what axles. So this has got the upgraded aluminum wheels with the aluminum construction main frame. Looking at the interior, we have two different configurations, just like the 180. We have, and actually the 200 for all intents and purposes, a lot of these things I'm talking about apply to our 200 Carnivore as well. we'll get to the 200 in a separate video, but really the difference between the 200 is it does grow. It's not just a foot longer, but it goes from a 72-inch wide bottom, which I should have mentioned here. So both the 180 and 190 have 72-inch bottoms. The 200 goes to a 78-inch bottom and a little taller sides. Other than that, a lot of these things I'm talking about apply to all three of these boats. The 200 we're also fitting with the same mercruiser engine now. As far as the seating configurations, this is the rear bench model. So with the rear bench, you get a 250-liter fuel tank. If you go with the dog box style, you're going to get side bench seats here, and you're going to have a 180-liter fuel tank. If you wanted with that, we do have an option. However, we can make both benches into fuel tanks, so you increase that capacity to 180 times 2. Obviously, you're going to compromise some storage if you do that, however. So lifting up the sun pad here, what you're going to see is this is a very heavy-duty sun pad. You can see the aluminum reinforcement in here, the dual lift shocks, so that's very sturdy, very solid. So this mercruiser engine is a fairly big deal in our minds. First of all, it's a 6.2-liter engine, so a lot of the competition does have 6.2-liter V8s in this field to offer. However, this was a purpose-built engine by Mercury from the ground up, so it's not a modified car engine. So everything about it is made for the marine industry. So servicing, changing oil, draining the water out, just really, really easy maintenance, oil filter access, fuel filter access. Now, some of the real key advantages to this are going to be, in particular, is going to be two things. It's going to be the torque that it produces and the noise. This is a quiet engine, quietest V8 I've ever seen. And Mercury has done that by just the way that they've designed the intake. The air intake, as an example, is at the back of the engine, so that the noise coming into the intake, you're not hearing it because it's behind the engine. Another feature that they've incorporated on the EFI engine is that it's got adaptive speed control. So if you load the boat up, come into a corner where you load up the engine will maintain the RPM without you touching the throttle. So that's a really cool feature. The other thing is that they do rate it at 370 horsepower, and I realize that some of the other competitors building engines in this field will rate their engines at perhaps 400, 410, 4.25 even, I've seen. Depends on the day and who's doing the marketing. I can tell you that we've compared this engine to other V8s, and the torque is what's really the driving factor here. And this is where the mercruiser engine really rates high, because the torque, although I don't have numbers, it's going to be higher in most cases than most other engines. And you're going to feel that as soon as you drive it. You barely have to touch the throttle. It's up on step, and it does it, like I said, quietly. So besides having a super quiet engine and a super quiet pump with the turbine pump, the other thing that Coyote does, just like we talked about on the 180, is everything is isolated. So we have minimal metal-on-metal contact in this boat. So everything's either got rubber isolators or nylon isolators between the engine, the pump, and the hull of the boat. Moving forward, we told you we got the 250-liter fuel tank underneath the rear bench. Again, this has got the full sea deck and the floor. You got lots of storage compartments here on both sides. Everything, again, fit finish. This has got an optional stereo system in it. This has got the optional bolster seats, which is really nice. If you want to stand up and operate this boat, that gets right out of your way. Throttle is easily grabbed onto when you're standing up or sitting down. The driver's seat, this one has an optional slider on it. As far as the layout of the dash, this has got the Mercury Vessel View gauge. This is also a fairly big deal, and this is something that's offered because we can do that with Mercury. So what it is it's a large, we call it Vessel View, and this can become many things. So if you, in its base configuration, it's going to show you your critical engine information. If you upgrade to the GPS puck, which we've put on the dash here, Now we're going to give you accurate speed. So at that point in time, you're going to have accurate fuel information. It's going to tell you how many miles to the gallon you're getting. And as most boaters know, that's really the most important thing. We don't really care a whole lot about how many gallons per hour we're burning. We need to know how many miles to the gallon we're getting. How much fuel are we going to use to get anywhere? This is also, the customer that bought this boat has added a transducer to the back. So this is also a chart plotter and a fish finder. So it gives you all your mercury information, your fuel economy, your oil pressure, engine temperature, all the critical information. It tells you about maintenance, and it's a chart plotter and a fish finder. So that's a very cool, nice, compact design. As with the rest of the Coyotes, you end up with a significantly large glove box. So this is deep. You can put lots of stuff in there. You've got lots of storage up on the dash. This has got the optional heater, so you got vents blowing down here. You got 2 on the dash to defog the window. The stereo control, you can't see it from there, but we just put that on the side here. As far as opening and closing the windows, all that Coyote does is just have this nice little detent that latches in to hold it, and then all you got to do is push it open. So that's very seamless. This has got the optional handrails up here. And as far as the drop bow is concerned, the same as the other Coyotes that we've showed you. You've got a very functional drop bow here, which is self-draining. And then you've got this storage up here, which is ideal for lawn chairs, whatever you might have. I like to usually pack lighter stuff up in the bow, put the heavier stuff in the back so that you don't reduce the performance as much. And you got a rope locker here as well. As far as canvas options on the Coyote boats, what they have there, and again, we've talked about this in the past, but this comes standard, I shouldn't say standard, it comes with an optional sun top. So the sun top is going to be a bimini that basically covers this area, and it'll be open in the front here. Then there's windows that are going to zip and snap in the front, so then you become your bimini top. Side curtains, and then a rear sloper. So a lot of our boats are going out as a standard package with all those pieces so that you have multiple ways of setting up your top depending on the day. And then of course a travel tarp that you can use for storage or for trailing. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we look forward to the next video and hope you enjoyed this one.